Hey, John, can you hear me?
I can. Just hold on here. Need to go back to the right window. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I took last week off. I had someone hosting last week, and so I missed that call. But I heard it well. Actually, I was on it a little bit. But I was remote. But it seems like I've been forever since I've been on this, and I know it's only been a week. But I'm excited to be here with you this morning. Here it is, the 20th day of August. Our Fireside Chat, and we have got a very special guest going to be joining in here, Joey Boswell. Joey Boswell is someone who I have known for, gosh, it's been probably 10, 12 years or so. We have actually never met in person, but we've been on the phone so many times. We've been on the phone so many times together and just have this really mutual respect for each other. We've developed a tremendous relationship and friendship over the years. We've never had a chance to work together before until now. And so just extremely excited about having the opportunity to work with and learn from Joey all of the years of success and wisdom that he has had in this industry of network marketing. So we're excited to welcome him. And what we want to do here today, as you guys know, this is a very open format. We want involvement, engagement from all of you. And I'm looking at, Joey and I have been involved in this industry for so long. We've seen so many, as he always terms it, the good, the bad, the ugly. And literally whatever the topic is, we can talk about it. We can talk about it. We can give our input and our insight, our advice on that particular topic. And so what I want to focus today on, and again, we can go in any direction you guys want, but what I want to focus today on from kind of initially getting this started is I want to get Joey to come on, share a little bit of his history and background. And what I want to discuss is what in Joey's mind, and we can discuss this as we go through this, but the three most important keys to success in network marketing, the three most important keys to success in network marketing. So with that, Joey, if you can join me, come on and let's start out. Give us a little bit of your background and your history.
Hey, Mr. John, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Awesome. Well, obviously it's a privilege to always work directly with you. I mean, let's face it, everyone take copious notes from this gentleman. He's been in the industry for over 30 plus years. And, one thing I've learned after being in this industry for over 20 years, do what like-minded people do. Follow successful people, because I can tell you right now, so many people, they get caught up in this industry. They miss the big picture. And it's so important to understand the power of this industry, getting people to understand how big this industry truly is. Because when people understand the network marketing industry as a whole is, an industry that's been in existence for well over 60 years. Here's an industry just last year did $200 billion with a B. Think about that. This is an industry that's not going anywhere. It's going to continue to thrive. It's going to continue to grow. But truly painting a picture for people is, I truly think, one of the most important keys to my success. And I'm just sharing my success, getting them to understand the big picture and the value of this industry, because when they understand it, once they've had a part of it, it's going to be a part of their journey for the rest of their life. And, one of the things I share with people about this industry, when you've had success one time, you'll be here forever. Being in this industry for over 25 years, I've seen so many people with so much talent. They get started, and just 2 or 3 pointers I share with people. They let their friends and family steal their dreams right out of the gates. They're literally out of the industry before they got started. They're out of the industry maybe before they receive a product from a company or a service from a company, because it's either their parents said, oh, that's one of those things, or their buddy says it's one of those things. It's a pyramid. Understand something. Everything in life is a pyramid. Unfortunately, people don't know a good pyramid from a bad pyramid. And what I've learned after 20 plus years of this industry, and I know John has, this is a good pyramid. Everybody gets treated the same. Everybody gets paid the same. Here's the difference between little success, no success, and great success. If you have no success in this industry, it's your fault. And people aren't willing to share that with you. If you have little success because you have little effort to have little success. If you've had major success, it's because you made a decision to do things to have that type of success. Everybody wants to blame an upline. Everybody wants to blame a company. Everybody wants to blame a system. When you sign up in a company, XYZ, I don't care what company it is, you get provided a back office just like we do. You get provided a compensation plan just like we do. The difference between John's success is John's made more 3-way calls. John had more people on his list. John showed up to more events than they did. That's really, truly the key. One thing I asked John before we partnered up and started doing some business together, how have you been so successful in this industry? He said, I just stayed committed. And that hones to me when I go to bed at night. I just stayed committed. John's on every call. John shows up for every event. John supports his people. John does more 3-way calls. I mean, these are just little nuts and bolts. Don't allow people to steal your dream, because I can assure you, if you got a big enough why and you got a burning desire to want more out of life than what you're getting, stay steadfast, stay committed. Don't buy people's opinions, because you will buy their lifestyle. You make the decision and success will follow. With that, John, I'm going to turn it back to you, sir, unless you got something else for me.
Yes, I do actually, but I want to take and discuss this first topic, right? Really along the lines of you talked about, this person signs up and they're out before their product comes, right? They believe for a moment, right? And then their family, their friends, the naysayers, you can never do that. That's a pyramid. You're stupid. This is ridiculous. Because we all have that. I'm sure, Joey, when you join this industry, the people around you, the question is, are you going to listen to them or not, right? And that's what happens is people listen to and they take advice from the wrong people, right? And because what I've found is people either are going to join you or they're going to fight you. Because whenever you step out, okay, I was a maintenance person, right? When I made the decision to join network marketing, everybody's laughing, teasing, you're crazy, that's a pyramid, it'll never work, blah, 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 blah. And I remember one of the things I said when I decided to go full-time in this industry, network marketing, I'm in the break room at the potato chip factory. And I said, you know what, maybe you're right. But the worst thing that can happen to me is I'm going to have to come back and get a job like you've got, right? I mean, you could have heard a pin dropping, but, because this business, people are like, I talk about it even in my book, it's like a bucket of crabs, right? You never have to put a lid on a bucket of crabs, because as soon as one tries crawling out, the others pull them back in, right? And you need to have the strength, because the people around you, and many times it's the people closest to you that are trying to pull you back in that bucket. Because when you step out and want to do something to better your life, it makes other people uncomfortable. I mean, that's the bottom line. They're either going to join you or they're going to fight you. because if they don't join you, they don't want you to succeed. If they do join you, yes, they'll be supportive. But if they don't join you, they're going to maybe on the surface appear to be supportive, but they're not. They're trying to pull you back into the bucket. I promise you that. And I mean, there's a reason why only a handful of people in life, from a percentage standpoint, really make big money, because the rest of the people are doing the most as Earl Nightingale says, he says they play the most unrewarding game in the world. It's called follow the follower, right? And the problem is those followers aren't going anywhere, right? And they're pulling you back into the bucket. Is when you've got sometimes the people closest to you telling you that you're crazy, you need to translate that in your own mind that, hey, you're onto something, right? That
Right.
You're onto something. And so that's probably, I mean, from a standpoint of what takes people out of this business, I mean, it happens in a lot of time in that first very, very brief window before they even get their product. They get excited like they've not been excited before in their life. And then quickly the people around them influence them. And people that aren't having success in life, but yet they buy their story. And so that's why I think it's so important to keep people plugged in, you know, to maintain. And you mentioned it also in your opening comments, Joey, about vision. And you are a master at this. Every time I hear you on a call, you know, and I you know, on the calls that we've done together, you have an energy, you have this ability to paint this picture and getting people to see and believe, you know, and you texted it to me earlier today to talk about, and it's something we need to talk about, is that sense of urgency and that fear of loss, that you can win here, right? And so, I mean, because that's really what our job initially is. It's to get people, you know, from that initial excitement, you know, through that threshold of making money where they have the evidence to support it, right? Because initially you're going off of faith before the income is there. You're going off of faith, and you're going to have to combat all the negative naysayers and the dream stealers and the self-doubt, right? I mean, it's not just network marketing, folks. That's the thing you got to understand. People failing in things. It's not just network marketing. It's everything. Okay. I mean, and so to do better, you've got to be better, right? You've got to think differently. And that's part of what I believe our jobs are as leaders, is to help people through that very difficult, you know, transition, to look at the world. Don't come into this with a job mentality where you work for a week, get paid for a week, you know, put in a day's work, get paid for a day. I mean, I even talk about this in my book about how, you know, 3 stages, right? Stage 1, you're going to feel grossly underpaid. You might work for a week and get paid for an hour, right? You know, because you're by yourself. It's all about your personal efforts. And then as you grow, you make it through that threshold, you build a little bit of a team, you've created some leverage, and now you have a little team. You're into stage 2 where, hey, this is starting to work. I'm making a little bit of money here. This is actually worth some of my efforts that I'm putting in. And then you get to stage 3, which you're, you know, worth more than anybody's worth, right? But you have to go through stage 1 or 2. With people in life in general, especially our youth today, nobody wants to go through stage 1 and stage 2. They just want to jump to stage 3. They don't have the patience. They don't have the perseverance. They don't have the stick-to-itness to be focused and consistent when they're not getting paid. Right? I mean, that's the key, right? If you're going to judge your opportunity here on what you make today, you're gone, right? I mean, this is a building process of getting underpaid, eventually paid what you're worth. And that's, guess what happens? You're underpaid again, right? Because a whole bunch of hiccups happen. People quit on you, whatever, and then you build it back up. I mean, but here's the importance of that staying focused and consistency, because I don't care who you are, if it's Joey, if it's me, if it's Karen Ford, it doesn't matter who it is. I promise you, you're going to have this. You're going to have this. There isn't such thing as this, right? This is a short window. 10% of your involvement is probably like this. The other 90% is like this. And a good portion of that 99% is like this. It's for everything in life. If you look at I mean, we can make comparisons of other things, other types of businesses. I mean, Colonel Sanders, what did he say? 10,000 times he presented his chicken recipe and everybody thought it was ridiculous. When you believe in something, right? Because your real success is just on the other side of where you think you want to quit. Right. So, Joey, you got me stimulated here, on your opening comments. And so why don't you give us a little, and again, what we want to do. So I think we've established through your opening comment, probably one of the most important things is that initial window of making it through. And our jobs, right, as leaders, is to help hold their hand through that window, because it's a tough window of all of that. When they're not making the money, doing something completely different than they've ever imagined. Everybody around them is telling them they're crazy and it's ridiculous and it'll never work. How do you get through that window, right? So if you have any additional comments on that, and then think about what would you say would be number 2?
You got to create a sense of urgency. That was one thing we were talking about I want to go back on something you just addressed. Everything in life is tough. A lot of people think, John just signs up in this industry and he goes and makes millions of dollars. Let me say something so everybody understands this. We had to lay a foundation when we started in our career. We had 10,000 reasons why we should quit, but we always found that 10,001 reason why we stayed. And once you get steadfast, what the most important thing I can share is people buy people before they buy companies. I bought John Haremza. I bought his story. He's wrote books. I bought his documentation. I bought his track record. I didn't need to try products. I didn't need to, see really anything. I joined because of John. But once you get started, and a lot of people miss this, and John was hitting on this, everything, it's not just network marketing. Look at professional sports. Less than a half of a percent make it big in professional sports. It's like college sports. A very small percentage of kids make it in college sports. My daughter's one, she was blessed because of her talents. And, we talked about work ethic. We talked about commitment. Her biggest fear, we dropped her off last week. Every kid had to run a mile in less than 7 minutes, I believe was the minutes. And if they didn't, they had big problems. They were hauling kids out in ambulances that couldn't make it. They had kids calling their parents, I want to quit college. This is no different than network marketing. Be willing, be prepared to go through the grind, because once you get through the grind, that's when magic happens. When you start having success, then everybody wants to be a part of your success. I mean, it is that important. So it's up to you to believe in yourself. The number 2 thing is sense of urgency. If you don't create a sense of urgency in whatever company you're involved in, why are people going to follow you? If they don't see the fire in your eyes, they don't see the commitment in your eyes, they don't see the dedication. If you're not showing up to events, you're not showing up to calls, you're not making a list, you're not doing the 3-way calls that are necessary, if you're not recruiting people into your business, why are your people going to do that? So many people, they're always getting ready to get ready. They're telling you what you should be doing. And when you ask them, well, how many did you recruit last month? None. Well, why do you expect me to recruit? So if you're telling people they got to recruit, and my favorite saying is, Joey, how do you get to the top of these companies? I recruit my way to the top, and when I get there, I start over and I do it again. Because if I lead by example and I'm on the leaderboard and I'm showing up and I'm consistent, and I learned that from John. That was the biggest point I got from John after 20 plus years of this industry. Joey, I just stayed consistent. I think about that. I wake up every day. There's a lot of days I don't want to do these calls. I know John, there's a lot of days he doesn't want to do a 3-way call. But you know what? That's part of the grind. That's part of success. That's part of your story. So stay consistent, create a sense of urgency, paint a big enough picture to keep people in the game long enough, because 99% of the people that fail in this industry or anything in life, they leave an hour too soon. They're an hour away from a breakthrough. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. An hour away from the breakthrough. We lose 99% of our people. And if they could have just stayed one more hour, that's when magic would have happened. With that, John, God bless you, brother.
Yeah, you said something, Joey, there that, I mean, several things, again, that triggered me, but the one thing you just said, just a moment ago is the grind, right? And that grind is what makes us who we are. That grind is what builds the character. That grind is what builds the wisdom. That grind is what makes us strong, right? That grind, that the experiences of the grind, of how valuable you can't, I mean, yeah. Are there cases of people going to the top without the grind? Yeah. But if they get involved in something at the absolute right time, and the momentum and the wave carries them to the top with little effort. But if you want to stay there, if you want to survive, as a leader long-term in this industry, you've got to go through the grind, right? And because even if you're with a company and you happen to catch it at the absolute right moment, what is inevitably going to happen, as we know, is it's going to dip. It's just the way it is. It's not, I think it's going to, it is going to. It's a law of nature. Whatever goes up is going to come back down. But if you're willing to commit to the grind, commit to the focus and the consistency, you're going to get it. You're going to get it to go back up. And then guess what happens again? Is it goes back down, right? I mean, and that's the thing, because people are raised with this mentality that a job they get a job mentality. They go to work, they get paid. But guess what?
That?
There's only two words. Oh, there's somebody off mute there. Lisa, if you could mute. Okay, you did. If where's that? The grind. If you're not willing to I forgot what I was talking about there. I'm sorry. But it was really good. Listen, Joey, if you have something else you want to comment on that, and then
again, you are right. You are right in the grind of the ups and the downs.
Yeah,
you're just like me. Somebody come unmuted, I'm like, oh goodness, thank goodness we're not in the telecom industry no more, because you and I would fail. That's for sure. But honestly, you're spot on, John, in what you're saying. Going through that grind. A lot of us have seen our highs and a lot of us have seen our lows. But what you've got to prepare yourself for mentally, I mean, and you can use the pandemic. A lot of us were on a high. Then unfortunately, we were faced with a pandemic that shut down, countries. And, a lot of things have changed. We all had to adapt. So we start down on a low. Life sometimes throws a curveball. And you got to understand something. That's part of success. If there's no low in your business, you're in the wrong business. If your company is perfect across the board, they're not going to last. It's too good to be true. Every company has its ups, its downs. Every leader has its ups and its downs. I was on a high, when I joined forces with John. Life got in the way. My wife got diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. This is a true story. Unexpectedly, last June, I could have quit. I had 1,000 reasons why I should quit, but I had 1,001 reasons why I shouldn't quit. So I had a lot of reasons why, we were at a low. We were at a sad time. We were disappointed. I had 3 kids, at home. Everybody's worried about their mommy. We were all scared. But you know what? We could have used that as an excuse to fail. Bills still continue to come. So we went through that low. We went through that grind. And you know what? Now we're coming to the top. We're coming to the top. Will we get some setbacks along the way? A few weeks ago, we got a setback. My wife ended up in the hospital for 2 weeks unexpectedly. It's part of life. So we started down again, a little upset. But we prayed and we just continued to grind. We didn't miss a call. We showed up. We kept promoting. Had people reaching out, hey, just cancel the call. No, I owe it to my people. My people need us. So the bottom line is understand ups and downs come with success. anything you do in life. To be a great basketball player, you got to miss a lot of shots. To be a great softball player, you're going to strike out a lot. You're going to make errors. That's the grind. That's part of success. Look at Michael Jordan, perfect example. Got cut from his high school. One of the greatest basketball players in the world. You know why? Not because of people. He believed in himself. He went through the grind. You know, I know a gentleman, you all can Google this guy, Mac McClung. Here's a guy that, you know, was one of the star high school basketball players right in our local community. You all look him up. His name's Mac McClung. Ended up going to Georgetown, this college, that college, Oklahoma State. Didn't get drafted in the NBA, but you know what? He begged and pleaded and showed up and got a deal with the Lakers. He's now playing for the Lakers. This just took place, but here's a guy that went through the grind, through the disappointments. Everybody said he couldn't make it. Guess what? He's playing for the Lakers right now as we speak. So understand, prepare yourself mentally for some downtime, because once you've done that, it's just part of life. You're going to go through so many disappointments, but it'll just become, hey, you know what? It's part of success. You know, I heard John's call, or I heard Joey say, hey, listen, he's went through, you know, people say this. How'd you have so much success? I made more mistakes than you. I went through more lows than you went through. You know, everybody thinks we're on a high. Everybody thinks, you know, just because John's made millions and millions of dollars, you know what? I'll assure you, he's got a lot of lows every day of his life, but that's why he's got a lot of highs also. So be patient, be real with people, stay focused, stay committed. And I can assure you, this industry is special if you're willing to go through some challenges to find greatness. Back to you, John.
Wow. You just said something there right at the very end that I got to comment on, is this industry is worth it. Okay. Because they're, you know, if you look at the statistics and a job, unless you're extremely well disciplined and wise in your investments, it ain't going to get you there. All it's going to do is provide you maybe a living, right? I mean, if you really want something more out of your life than the norm, okay, as you look around at everyone else, okay, the job is unlikely to get you there. The norm is unlikely to get you there. Okay, if you want that, you know, I remember hearing, this was several months ago, Hannah Gallagher, she said something like, you know, everybody wants the good life, but what are you willing to do? Right? What are you willing to do? Right? And that's what many times separates us. But if what, and it's not just what are you willing to do? What are your options? I mean, do you have hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest in a traditional business? And if you don't think those fail, you're kidding yourself. I mean, when you look at, I mean, people talk to me all the time with the money I've made, they give, you know, throw ideas by me. I want to do this or I want to do that. Other types of traditional businesses. And when I look at the numbers, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, they're like, well, you're spoiled because of what you do. Well, I mean, think about it. You're spoiled because of what you do. Okay. There is nothing like it, folks. If you get this to work, and how do you get it to work? You become a student of it. How do you get it to work? You stay focused. How do you get it to work? You stay consistent. How do you get it to work? You get up an hour earlier, you stay up an hour later. You make those calls. You work when you don't feel like working. You make the calls when you don't feel like making the calls. You make sacrifice, because I think there's another word just popped into my head, that if you look at anyone that's ever succeeded in network marketing or ever succeeded in anything big in life, I can tell you sacrifice became part of their life, right? It's, you know, I remember hearing it long ago, you either pay the price today or you're going to pay the price the rest of your life. There is sacrifice that has to be, you know, maybe it's missing something. Maybe it's giving up something. You know, maybe it's, you know, working when everybody else is having fun. But sacrifice is also a part of success. And that's what many times people aren't willing to do, is they're not willing to do that sacrifice. So listen, let's take and open this up. Joey, you're happy to jump in anytime you want, but if someone else here wants to, you know, piggyback on what we've discussed here today, give their input, maybe their story, maybe an experience or an idea.
I'm going to jump on real quick. Hi, everyone. My name's Robin. I've been with Valentis for over 4 months now. And I just want to say hello, Joey Boswell. Like, I'm so excited for this fire chat today because, for one, Monday was my first meeting with John Haremza, and I just fell in love with John Haremza. Like, I'm starstruck every time I see him. And then Tuesday was the business overview call where Joey Boswell was one of the guest speakers and blew my mind. Like, his opening was that one of those drawing in, you know, I need to get on board. So thank you, Joey, for that. I look up to you and enjoy your calls weekly. And to add on to the grind, it's like going to school, just like everybody says, you know, you go back to kindergarten, you just want to share your story about everything, but it really is going back to school. You know, you have to start from the bottom and work your way up to graduation, you know, and there's 12 years that you have to go through. So that's a whole year if you try to take your step 1 month at a time and just learn as you earn and just go with it. And not everybody jumps on board in school being that 4.0 student and graduating with those 4 points all the time, you know, so you're not going to be successful right off the bat if you're not going to be putting that much effort into it like you would if you were that 4.0 student. So like with me, I'm not a 4.0 student, but I am a student that can succeed well if I put my efforts into it. So that's why I've been just kind of doing my own thing and doing what I can, and it's just being involved. And one of the things that I did in school that I am very proud of is I have a perfect attendance award for every single grade that I was in. And so I look at that when we're told to go back to school is, okay, well, that's what I can do. That's what I can bring to this company is myself. I can bring myself into John Haremza's meeting. I don't think I've missed a meeting in almost 3 months. I'd missed a few getting started in April, and in May it was a little rocky, but Joey Boswell told me to hang out with successful people, you know, so in April I sent messages out to all these successful people that I was seeing on the Zoom meetings, and, you know, within a month I was hanging out with all the successful people at John Haremza's house himself in Vegas, so after an event. So it's just being involved, you guys, and just staying committed and staying plugged in for yourself. You know, if you're going to involve other people, you need to involve yourself first. So thank you.
Thank you, Robin. That was fantastic. And you said something there too, I just want to reiterate is, you know, hanging out with, you know, successful people, because that is something people have to do, you know, is they need to sometimes change who they are hanging around with, who they're listening to. Right? Because it really is true. I mean, all the successful people will talk about this is, you know, your net worth will be a mirror of the people you hang around with. Right. I mean, and this is, I remember a book I read, I didn't read it, I listened to it, and it was called The Traveler's Gift. And one of the points in there was, you know, the influence other people have on us. Right. And the illustration was, this guy by the name of Kevin Ponder, and it was King Solomon he was talking to, and said, you know, asked him, you know, do you have any kids? And he said, yes, I have a daughter named Jenny. And King Solomon says, well, do you ever worry about, you know, who she hangs around with? And oh yeah, I mean, if she's around with the wrong people, you can see it in her attitude, and we just don't know what to do with her. And so then you would agree that people, you know, as a young child that you hang around with have an impact or an influence on you. Yes, absolutely. And so then he asked the question, at what age does that stop? Is it 21? You know, is it 35? It never stops, right? And he went on to say, I mean, if you hang around with liars, you're going to find yourself lying. You know, you hang around with lazy people, you'll find yourself being lazy. You hang around with people that are swearing, you'll find yourself swearing. When you hang around people that are successful, you're going to find yourself being successful. It is so critically important. I remember, I love this quote, and it's a bit of a tongue twister. It say, you know, if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you, right? If you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. Because you can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. So who else wants to jump in here and give us a little impact?
John,
Can I jump in, Joy?
sorry.
Can I jump in?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, as a business owner, I see that a lot of, I have a team. I'm a diamond in the um, organization under Dr. G. You know, everybody can say any word so nice, but come down, everybody have a self-doubt and the fear in their head. You have to grind. I love the topic you put it on today. If you build this business with the job mentality, you're not gonna last because you gotta take it like your business. Because a lot of people come in here and dapping their toe and they think they're gonna rise because you might get lucky come in the right time, but when you fall, that's how you're gonna know when you're back against the wall. That's how you're gonna know. Because this business is a long term, is about the grind, the one that you have the strength not to give up, and you have to have the goal and the dream because you have to have strong why. And the personal development is the key because if you don't plug in the book, in the group, you're gonna be dying out. I guarantee you, because the book gonna keep you alive because your brain need a work with the book. That's my take, John. I'm pal, like a PayPal. I make sure I get paid. Thank you.
Fantastic. And you're here every week. You're here every week. And again, guys, success leaves clues. You want to be, I mean, I can't imagine someone leaving one of these fireside chats and say that was a waste of time. I didn't get something out of that, even if it's little, right? And it's true on every time. Joey talked about it a little, I'm on the calls, right? I'm on the Zooms. And I remember back even when I first entered this industry, and I'm living in a small town in Minnesota. I'm driving 75 miles every day from that small town to Fargo, North Dakota, where I had an office where I was launching my business. And I remember doing meetings, and this is Minnesota, North Dakota, winter storm. This guy is, I can't make it to the meeting. I drove 75 miles through a storm. I got to the meeting. He can't come across town to come to the meeting. Again, what are you willing to do? Are you going to make excuses or are you going to make money? Right. And that's really, so thank you for that. Anyone, Kathy, you were going to say something.
Yeah, thank you, John. Well, one, thank you for doing these fireside chats on Friday, because surrounding ourselves with all of us is like fire. It gives us it's a great way to end the week and begin our next week. So I really appreciate that. And the one thing that I really got was the solid foundation. And when we started, that was really important, that we be committed and stay focused and trust the process. So in 2015, we said that's what we're going to do. And so we've done that with our own wellness journey and just the stick-to-itiveness of this business. And what I highlighted, what you said, John, was the stages, because we were brand new in this industry where we didn't really, we thought we were just going to be on some products, and all of a sudden we're diamonds. And I remember my brother getting a call going, Mike, you're going to get your diamond numbers this month. And he's like, what are you talking about? We had no clue what we were doing except for helping people. So I think we were given, like what Joey said, you see what's possible. So that's why we're still here, because we saw that. And we've gone through what you said, the stages we actually were kind of in stage 3. We thought we were. And then we started doing some management mode things and some learning curves. And we went back to stage 2. And so it's been a journey of the stages even. But we saw what was possible. So we know what this industry can do for people. And we know through what you talk about, John, with different elements of what you need as a company to be strong. And so we're all in with Valentis, and I just really appreciate everybody and everything that we've gotten here.
Thank you. And, I do want to say that also to everybody, as I just really appreciate each and every one of you for your participation, coming in on these, on support, being supportive. And I hope that we do provide you some good insight and value. And I love the back and forth and the interaction. And so I want to thank you all for that as well. Let's see if we have one more person who wants to step up here and contribute here today.
Hi, John. It's Jerry. I just wanted to say that, I like Kathy, I love these calls on Friday. I told you that a few months ago, and I just love them. And one of the things is it brings constant reminders of things that are happening. And I know in my 30 years in this industry, I know what has been good for me and not good for me, and it's consistency. And the calls today, what Joey said reminded me again, be consistent, find something that works. And I feel that I have found a system that is working well for me and I like it. So it's easier to be consistent with it, right? So that is my keyword. And thank you for these calls. And I can't wait for Dave's call tomorrow to talk about all the things he's going to talk about. So just a reminder to everybody to make sure you're on that.
Yes, fantastic. Well, listen, let's give the last word here. Joey, if you could come on, and give us kind of your final thoughts on what you're thinking right now, and then we'll close it out.
Well, thanks to everyone that's involved, and this is a powerful call. I mean, if you want to be successful in this industry, like I said, whatever company, XYZ, you plug into calls like this. I got more out of this call this week than I have the last 1,000 calls I was on. I mean, this is just real life stories, nuts and bolts. But one little tip I'll give everybody that I learned 20 plus years ago, and I think a lot of people get caught up, is this: don't spend too much time with the wrong people. There was a young lady who just said, we went into management mode. When you go into management mode, you're failing your business, you're failing your teams. Do not spend too much time with the wrong people, because a lot of us, I'm guilty of it, John's guilty of it, a lot of leaders on this call are guilty of it. We spend too much time with people that we truly want it for them. We want it way worse for them than they want it for themselves. And I've learned, a lot of people either love me or they hate me is irrelevant. They don't pay my bills. This is a business. Network marketing is a business. This is how I feed my family. Yes, I'm here to make money. Yes, I'm here to change people's lives. But don't spend too much time with the wrong people, because that will knock you right out of such a unique opportunity, because 90% of the people that fail is because they spent too much time with the wrong people. Find people that want the same things you want out of life. With that, everyone have a blessed weekend. Back to you, John, and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you, Joey. That was such an important point you just talked about. I'm going to have to comment on it. Okay. I'm just going to go a couple more minutes here, because that was such an important point of spending time with the wrong people. Okay. And you guys, I want to really help you understand this from a clear point, because everybody matters, right? Everybody counts. You never know when that person's going to have that paradigm shift, when that person is going to, all of a sudden something happens where they get turned on, maybe they lose their job, they have an epiphany, whatever, they're on a call, whatever. So everybody counts, but spending time with the right people, right? Because you can take and waste 6 months, a year, your entire career, frustrated and smoldering, trying to make people do this business, right? Trying to convince people to do this business, right? You can waste so much time. You spend the time with the right people. So how do you know? I relate it to fishing. And I've done this before. I'm going to give it again if you missed it. Okay. In this business, when you're out fishing and you get a bite and you're reeling it in and you're asking yourself, I wonder if this is a big fish or not. If you have to ask, it's not, right? If the rod's pinned to the rail and it's taken out line, it's a big fish. So how do we relate that in our business? If I've got to be, Robin, are you going to be on the call? Are you going to be at the meeting? Are you going to, are you have anybody for me to talk to? How do you know when you have the right people? Because they're taking out line. They're calling you. They're asking you. You don't have to find out. You don't have to wonder, are they going to be on the call? Right? Do they have somebody to talk? They're doing it, right? They're showing it. When you have to ask them, they're not doing it. And don't confuse, they still count. You still want to service them, but you can't spend major time. This business is way too frustrating trying to drag people across the finish line, trying to make people do it. Spend your major time with the people that leave clues. They're calling you, they're doing the business. right? They're sponsoring, prospecting, they're on the calls, they're setting the right example, they're doing it. It's very obvious. So asking yourself, you know, how you are spending. Are you begging, right? Are you trying to convince? Are you, you know, hanging on, trying to hang on to people when you should be taking your time and spending it, finding that new person? Because you know it. When you find it, you know it. It's fun. It's easy. It flows, and it's productive. With that, everybody, thank you, Joey. Appreciate all your wisdom and input here today. This was a high energy call too. I'm jacked up here. So anyway, hope you guys are all doing well, and we'll see you on Monday. And don't forget, as Jerry said, Saturday morning, we have a great training call coming up with Dave, and I believe there's going to be an announcement on it. So with that, everybody have a fantastic day.
Thank you,
John.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, John. Thanks a lot, guys.